To use a mustard binder or not to use a mustard binder on your brisket. Whether you use a binder or not, barbecue circles are split. Whether it actually keeps the rub on and makes a prettier bark or not, that is part of this bigger question. So in this video, I'm going to share my results of cooking two briskets exactly the same, except one had a mustard binder and the other one did not. I'll also be sharing my thoughts on binders and whether or not I recommend using one after this test. Now, I have cooked briskets with and without binders over the years. Now, I honestly sometimes can't tell that it does or does not do anything for my brisket or other barbecue meats. So the first question we'll ask is, why use a binder in the first place? Many cooks feel that using a binder like mustard creates a better bark, helps the rub stick to the meat, and even enhances the flavor of your brisket, depending on what you use. And so over the years, why has mustard emerged as the most popular binder? Well, mustard is pretty inexpensive, first of all. Second of all, it's been around forever and ever. I remember my dad used it in the early 70s on his briskets, even way back then. And it does a fairly decent job of keeping the rub on the brisket. I will say also, it also depends on what kind of rub you're using and how much rub you're using as well. In most professional cooks' opinions, the mustard does not alter the flavor of the meat in any way, shape, or form. You really can't even tell it was there flavor-wise. What are some of the alternatives to mustard as a binder? Some cooks like to mix pickle juice with their mustard. Some people like to use Worcester. Some use a combination of those three. If you've watched my videos, you see that I am a fan of using Parquet. I don't really use the Parquet so much as a binder. I just feel like it does a little subtle enhancement to the flavor of the meat due to the oils and the butter flavor that is in the Parquet. And gasp, but there's actually some cooks that say they use mayonnaise. We're gonna see if that mustard binder really makes a difference or not. Put a little bit of binder on this one tomorrow morning. No binder in this one. We're gonna use the exact same rub. We're gonna cook them in the same pit at the same temperature till they're both done perfect. All right, I'd like to do a little more investigation with a couple of my friends, totally unrehearsed. They don't even know I'm gonna call them. First guy I'm gonna call is my good friend Mauro Peña, who cooks briskets quite often, and find out if he uses a binder, and if he does, why. If he doesn't, well, why not? What's going on, Mauro? How you doing today?
Bien, aquí nomás. You know, I just use your OG on fajitas toreadas inside the house.
You're gonna eat good, man. Real quick question. I'm making a video about whether or not a binder does or does not make a difference on a brisket. I know you cook them pretty often. Do you use binders on your brisket?
I use like the Worcester sauce. I use Dale's mustard. So yes, I do use binders. You know, when I cook the brisket, kind of gives me a head start, and especially if I'm gonna cook it on a pellet grill.
Let's try another friend of mine, Lucio Moya. He cooks a lot of briskets and actually does pop-ups. So what are your thoughts? Do you use a binder on your brisket?
This is my opinion towards it. If I'm gonna open up a brisket and it's fresh out of the pack and I trim it up, and I won't use a binder. I'll go just straight with my rub, whatever I'm gonna rub it with, and I'll just throw it on the pit. I've noticed when I cook my briskets, it becomes flaky, my bark. And that's one of the main reasons why I don't use a binder.
Yes, I've had that experience too. Do you think binders work on brisket, or do you use a binder yourself?
No, because, you know, whenever I put some seasoning, I mean, that seasoning pull a lot of moisture out of the meat, and that right there is gonna bind it to me. Pulls moisture out, that binds it.
Briskets for catering or for the house, do you use a mustard slather or any other kind? You don't have to tell me what it is if it's a secret. I'm just curious, do binders work or not work?
I just started using it. Yeah, I just started using a binder for the catering briskets. Yeah, it helps the rub steak for sure.
Okay.
I noticed that right away.
Okay. So you see, it's split right down the middle. Swear, these guys had no clue that I was going to call them. They had no idea. I have a feeling that if I continue to call people, it's going to be split right down the middle. And so therein lies the conundrum, you know. Does it work? Does it not work? Some guys believe it does. Some guys swear it does. Some guys say it's not necessary. When I went to lay them into the barbecue smoker, I was still wondering, is it going to make a difference? After about the first 2 hours, I went ahead and went in there to do the first spritz. The only real difference I could tell was that one of them had a little bit of a yellow hue to it due to the yellow mustard sitting below the rub. Now when I went in for the second spritz, I could see that the bark and the color was really starting to look a little more different. This was now 3.5 to 4 hours into the cook. However, I did notice that there really wasn't a whole lot of difference between one and the other than the little yellow hue that still was there under the rub of the brisket that had the mustard binder on it. Now I went ahead and rotated them and spritzed them again just to make sure all things are equal inside the smoker. And when I went to wrap them, pretty much kind of what I expected. I didn't see a whole lot of difference from one to the other. And I was kind of surprised actually that the one without the binder was a little darker in color. Was it because of the yellow in the mustard? I'm not real sure. They literally look identical. I can't tell which one's the Snake River and which one is the regular prime one. They look the same. The bark looks the very same to me. We'll see what they look like when we get them unwrapped. Here we have our 2 briskets. Let's get them unwrapped. They've been resting about an hour or maybe a little bit more. We're gonna open them up, see if the binder or no binder makes a difference. All right, let's see what we got here. Man, it's super soft. Look at that. Look at that. This looks really pretty. Super soft. Oh my goodness, that thing's super nice. This one has a lot of moisture in it too. Wow. Kind of feels like it overcooked just a hair. Got a little crack here. But man, look at that. That is nice. They're both super nice. Now the bark is not real hard here, not real set. This is the one with the mustard. This bark seems to have set a little bit better. Look at that. You know, it doesn't quite print so much when I put my fingers on it. It was barking up real nice all the way around. For some reason, this center part on both briskets did not quite bark up. I'm not sure if it was the airflow inside the smoker or what, but either way, they both barked up really nice with and without a binder. This is a Wagyu brisket. It was a little smaller by about a pound than the other one. Let's go ahead and slice it up and see what we're looking at here. That's sliced really nice. Wowza. That's a beautiful looking brisket right there, folks. Really nice. I'm just gonna take one slice here and give it a taste test. You can see a really nice smoke ring there. Beautiful smoke ring. Man, that just melts in your mouth. That is really good. All right, now this one is the prime. This one did go up to about 205, 206. To me, it looks just a hair overcooked because I can see a little crack up here on top. The other one pretty much settled in right at 203. Slice is really nice and soft. Really nice. Very nice too. Beautiful brisket. Wagyu brisket was definitely a little bit more moist. I do think this one overcooked just a hair. Nothing wrong with that though. All right, let's cut this one. Take a taste. I wonder if the meat tastes different. That's good too. Very good. I can tell a little difference in the meat flavor though. They're both really good, but the meat has more flavor over there in my opinion. Very good. Very good. All right, friends, you saw it with your own eyes. We have a prime and a Wagyu, both of them seasoned identical. The prime had a binder, the Wagyu did not. Both barks turned out really nice. The bark stuck just equally well without the binder. I'm gonna vote that binder is not really necessary. Now, if you wanna put it on and you think it works for you, go right ahead. Put it in the comments, tell me, do you use a binder or not? I think they both looked great. They both taste great. They both cooked perfect. They're both amazing. Friends, thanks for watching. I hope you got some value out of this video. If you're interested in my OG rub, which is an awesome brisket rub in and of itself, or some of my wow over here, if you really want to wow your friends, you can find both of my rubs and my shirts at pitmaster.us as well as the cap. If you want to up your barbecue game and be able to cook briskets like this, you can find my brisket masterclass at pitmasterclass.us. Thanks for watching, folks. Keep the smoke light. Make it work so that you can have a wow kind of day. Here comes buddy. Here comes my buddy. He wants a slice too. You only get one. That is working right now. Maybe one of you guys can give me an answer or tell me why is it that I can never find a brisket like this when I'm going to a competition. Only when I'm cooking them in the backyard. It's hilarious, I know, but it's the truth.